Anything to discuss?
Question. As I think when the word Dhamma is put in various contexts, what kind of meanings does it have?
The first meaning of Dhamma is the Buddha's Dhamma. The Buddha's Dhamma is the Buddha's teachings. And the Buddha's teachings refers to reality, the truth about the world. Because the Buddha said that having become enlightened, he knows the world with its devas and maras, ascetics, etc. And he teaches the reality about the world, that the world is an unsatisfactory place, a dangerous place, with different kinds of planes of rebirth. If you are not careful, you can go into woeful planes of rebirth. And then he teaches a path out of this round of rebirths, because the round of rebirths is unsatisfactory, is suffering. A lot of people find it hard to accept the Buddha's teaching that the world is dukkha, suffering. Basically, because people are not aware of the ghost realm, not aware of the hell realm. Because we don't see, we don't quite believe. That's why. And also because the human realm is a place, is a happy destination of rebirth. So life in the human realm is good. That's why most people, when we die, we're not willing to die. We want to cling on to life. So when they hear that Buddha says life is suffering, they don't accept it. But when a person is dying, you look whether he's happy to die or not. Most of the time, you find people, when they are dying, they are crying. They don't want to go. Why? Because 2 or 3 days before they die, they can see another world coming up. And when they see another world coming up, most of the time, it's a frightening world. And you ask them to let go, they cannot let go. How to let go? Because what they see is so frightening. The worst suffering we have in the human realm is nothing compared to the ghost realm, nothing compared to the hell realm. So you ask them to let go, they will never let go, because it's so frightening. You see people who are suffering at the last moment, some just because of old age, some because of sickness. And the body is giving them so much pain, and they prefer to cling on to life, cling on, and suffer day by day, until they just can't bear it anymore. We have a threshold of pain. Beyond the threshold of pain, we can't stand it anymore. But even beyond the threshold of pain, because of the fear of being reborn in that woeful plane of rebirth, they still cling to life, cling until they cannot cling anymore. Then only they will let go. So a lot of people, they don't believe in the Buddha's teachings, but at the last moment, then all this comes true. Too late, they find out. Many of them, they have been promised when they die, they will go to heaven and all that. When they are dying, they don't see heaven. So that's the first meaning of Dhamma, about reality, about the world. The second meaning of Dhamma is states, mental states, also mental objects, what else? Anybody remember any other meaning of Dhamma? Dhamma has several meanings. Nature. Nature is like reality. At the moment, I can only think of these three. Yeah.
All of us think that the human realm is we are in a happy way of existence. And we always think that being in the ghost realm and the animal realm are suffering. The worst of course is the healthy. But you see, yesterday we went to the home of these disabled people. When you see all these young people, some of them young, some of them are old, and you look at them, that to me is like hell on earth. Hell in this human realm.
Yes. In the human realm also we have different levels. You think you are happy, but there are also other people happier than you, humans who are happier than you. And some are worse than you, what you saw, those mentally retarded people, they are a bit like animals, a bit like in the ghost realm. So even with the Deva realm, you find also there are some extremely happy, so happy they cannot utter a word. And those are in the third jhana realm. And those in the second jhana realm, they are so happy, they keep saying happiness, happiness. Every day they are like blissed out after ecstasy pill or something, but much higher. Their happiness is much higher than what they get from ecstasy pill. And it lasts for millions and millions of years. And yet, there are lower devas who have difficulty finding their food. Snake spirits, bird spirits, river spirits, these are low devas. So they are a bit like human beings. To get food, they have to kill. They have to hunt and kill to get food. That's why some of them, when they hear the Buddha's teachings, are not happy, because they cannot practice it. So, but then generally devas have a good life, and humans also have a good life. That's why the Buddha classify these two as a happy destination of rebirth, and the other three as a woeful destinations of rebirth.
The Buddha forbidden. The Buddha did not allow his disciples to show miracles to make
To what?
Do not allow his disciples
Monk.
to show miracles.
To work miracle. Yeah.
To lay people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we see that he has performed miracles.
Yeah.
Do you think he has double standard on this? And what is the reason?
He is the teacher, so he makes rules for his monks. Most of the time he keeps, but sometimes when he finds it useful to work miracles, then he does so. That's why the Buddha said, don't have sila bhatta paramasa. Sila bhatta paramasa is too attached to sila, rules, and rituals refers to all the religious things that we do, chanting, even acharya vata, duty to the teacher, that also is a vata. And many things, anything in concerning religion is a vata. So the Buddha said it has its use, but don't be too attached to it. You must always know what is the purpose of the sila, what is the purpose of that vata. So even though the Buddha said that some of his disciples, they would rather die than break his precepts. And yet, when the Buddha was about to pass away, the Buddha said, if the Sangha decides the Sangha can abolish certain minor rules. So in the Patimokkha of a monk, 227 precepts, only 2 classes of precepts are considered major. The Parajika, consisting of 4 precepts, and the Sangha consisting of 13 precepts, which adds to how much? 17. So the balance, 200 over precepts are considered minor. But at the same time I mentioned that the Buddha did not say which of the minor precepts can be abolished. So he left it to the Sangha to decide. If it is necessary, then they can abolish it. So, like in this case, the Buddha, although he says generally not to show psychic power, but when he finds it useful, then he shows.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit more why the Buddha does not allow his disciples to exercise?
He did say, he said, firstly, it's shameful, it's like striptease act like that. Secondly, the Buddha said, there are such things as mantras, and mantras also can work miracles. If you chant certain mantras, if you know those mantras, they can work miracles. So the Buddha says that if you work miracles, people who have faith will have more faith. But those who have no faith, which is the maybe majority, they will say that this is, you are dabbling in black magic, dabbling in mantras and all these things. So instead of having a good effect, may have a bad effect.
I wonder if it is hard to become human, to then the human realm, as there are so many other realms of the planet. Is it hard to become a human because I'm thinking how you can get human air or an animal?
In the suttas, the Buddha says that all beings generally after passing away, the chances of going into the woeful planes are more than to the happy destinations of rebirth. So, you take for example human beings. Actually, in the human realm, we create a lot of karma compared to the devas who enjoy themselves most of the time, and then compared to the animals and ghosts and hell realm, where they suffer most of the time and unable to do much about their situation. So in the human realm, we create a lot of karma, and a lot of people don't understand the Dhamma, don't understand the law of karma vipaka, don't understand that there are realms, frightening realms of rebirth. So we follow our tendencies, and our natural tendency is greed, anger, hatred, and ignorance or delusion. So when we follow our natural tendencies, we are selfish. We fight from the moment we are able to, then we fight for survival, and we want to get the best of everything. So in the course of struggling to survive, and not only survive for yourself, survive for those you consider to be yours, your family and all that. So sometimes we create evil karma, and most of the time, for worldly people, they don't realize it. And so after they die, they go into a woeful plane. And the surprising thing is, even people who don't do really evil, ordinary people, live an ordinary life. When they pass away, most of them will go into the ghost realm. Why? Because as human being, we are in a good situation. So we are able to enjoy the good food that we can get and go and touring around the world, enjoy rock music or etc. All the pleasures of the senses. So when we indulge in the pleasures of the senses, we use up our merit, use up our blessings. So by the time we are about to pass away, our blessings has reduced below the qualifying mark to become a human being. So we naturally fall into the ghost realm. That's why a lot of people after dying a few days, they come back. People can sense that they come back. You can hear somebody walking, footsteps, but you don't see.
So you mentioned that the probability of humans going down to the ocean is greater than the probability of going up.
Yeah.
So over time, to round the river, there should be no more humans left.
No.
Because everyone has either gone down or they have educated to around and the same for able.
Actually, the Buddha says the world is created by our consciousness. So it's like a dream. So hell is unlimited accommodation. All the realms are unlimited. So our world is made by our mind. Each person's world is made by his mind. So it's like a dream. You can't think in terms of calculate how many human beings calculate.
Okay. See, you say most humans when die go to the lower realm. Then you see the world population year by year is increasing. So where does all these beings accumulate so much merit, they come to the humans
all in your mind. Actually, the Sutta says that a long time ago, this world was so well populated with people that towns and cities were just next to each other all over the place. And a cockerel could just walk from one town to another town. So now you think the population is exploding, there's a population explosion. Nothing. It used to be a lot more. I don't think like Munching, in terms of numbers and all that, because when we dream in our dreams, the numbers, whatever numbers, when we wake up from the dream, there's all disappeared. So the Buddha, in Mahayana, they say when you become a Buddha, you have liberated all the beings in the world. When a person becomes a Buddha and enters Nibbana, all the beings in his world have all disappeared. His mind stopped, his consciousness stopped. So all the beings in his world disappeared. But all the beings in your world has not disappeared. They will all they will all enter Nibbana with you when you enter Nibbana.
Hell, heaven, hell, and on same is in this human realm is like what we discussed earlier. For example, is that little children believing how it is. So they don't believe that there is hell as described in the Sutta. Secondly, and I think from this, as you know, wrong view because they don't accept that we born in heaven because heaven is also on in the human realm itself.
That kind of view is a bit different from what the Buddha says, lah. If you consider that in this human realm there is also hell and there is also heaven, it is only true to a small degree, because in the human realm, the happiest humans, however happy we can be, is only equivalent to the very low heavens, to the low heavens. But there are much higher heavens where the happiness is much, much higher. And the most unhappy beings in the human realm are those who are suffering, for example, in Africa or some starving nation. At the very worst, also cannot compare to like the ghost realm or the hell realm. Cannot compare at all to the hell realm. But you can see, like some people, they go out of their mind, they're crazy. Maybe their karma is so bad, they are thrown out of the house by the children, and they walk on the streets. Sometimes you can see this in Asia. They walk on the streets and babbling and crying and all these things. So you can imagine the mind is utterly miserable and suffering. But still, it's nothing compared to the hell realm where they are poked and their skin alive and thrown into the boiling pot and forced to climb up a thorny tree, and some in the hell of excrement, swimming about in among excrement and all this. So it's nothing. So a lot of people like this, because they don't see, they don't quite believe. But because they are supposed to be Buddhists, so they say, heaven and hell is all here. It shows that they doubt what the Buddha says about realms of existence.
When they only believe that it is not possible to be born as an animal, and they describe the animal in terms of animal nature or ghostly nature in the human characteristic, rather than the realm of existence.
That only shows they don't study the Sutta enough.
Actually, the topic is part on self. Actually, specifically, but I thought another question now is more important for us.
So your question is, how do people fall in hell, is it? The Buddha says, he taught us the precepts. So, the first precept is not to kill. So, if you kill a lot, and there's a first way to go to hell. For example, people who hunt and kill a lot of animals, or people who slaughter animals as a livelihood. So there's the first. Secondly, if you cheat, for example, cheat a lot of people. How to cheat a lot of people? One way you can see nowadays is politician, corrupt politician. Corrupt politicians, they cheat a lot of people, and they get filthy rich. And that's another way. And then the third way is sexual misconduct. People who engage in sexual misconduct and cause families to break up. And it's not only they do it only once, they do it very often, and with a lot of people. And fourthly, lying. Lying involves cheating also. Cheating people. Also, it can be similar to like corrupt officials and all that, who cheat a lot. Also people who, on the business world, they cheat. For example, like this scandal in China, tainted milk and all these things, just to make money, they cause people to die. So there's lying, and then selling drugs and all this, selling drugs to cause hardship to a lot of people, dealing in drugs, and then also people who sell weapons, and you know that the weapons, for example, arms dealers, they sell to different sides, both sides, so cause people to kill each other. So all this wrong livelihood. Okay, so these are the ways. You go to have.
It's not the question is earlier, but say that most women, Buddha said most women beings were born to go. But what I notice around me, people don't really beat what against the 5% as much as they say. But then Buddha still says most people will fall below. So I still cannot visualize that.
Hell is very different from the ghost realm. So I mentioned that a lot of people, even without doing evil, they will fall into the ghost realm because they have used up their blessings. They don't have to kill, they don't have to cheat people and all these things. They still fall into the ghost realm.
How do I help a deranged person to be better off? I think this life will be better.
A deranged person, you better call the doctor.
The doctor is being under the care of
Your doctor cannot help him. How can you help him? You cannot help everybody in the world. Even the Buddha also cannot help everybody in the world.
You feel so desperate because related to you. Since young and you keep thinking of that. Until today you still cannot do it. And you still burden with this burden. And you still do the person almost let go of it. Because you feel that you can't even help yourself. On so-called path. And how are you? But still, I still want an answer from Sunday.
The family members, those close to us, are very difficult to help. Close family members are hard to help because they are used to seeing you, the old person. So unless they see you change yourself, you got to change yourself first before you can change somebody else. You got to improve yourself so much that they are impressed by you, and then only they can change. So it's not easy. And the Buddha says, if a person is in the mud, cannot help another person out of the mud. You got to get out of the mud, then only you can help another person get out of the mud.
Among Buddhists, there is one common belief that the last thought in your mind will determine where you go. Does this has any base in the Sutta?
I think what you're talking about is what these people who believe in Abhidhamma, they teach that when a person is dying, you must tell him to have a good thought, and then he will go to a good rebirth. This is too simplistic. Too simplistic. In the Sutta, we find sometimes when some of the Buddha's lay disciples are dying, then the monks go to them and advise them to think of the heavens or to think of something very lofty. And then some of them are reborn in the high heaven. But that's provided they have good karma. Okay? And then there's one sutta where the Buddha's cousin, Mahanama, came to asked the Buddha, he said, Bhagavan, I was thinking one day I might have a violent death. I mean, he didn't say it in exactly those words, but his meaning was he might have a violent death where he might be run over by a horse carriage or by a bullock cart, or he might be killed by some bandits and all these things, something like that. So having dying in a very frightening situation, he asked the Buddha whether he would get a bad rebirth, because he thought the last thought is frightening, last thought is fearful. So the Buddha said, don't worry, Mahanama, for a long time you have practiced the Dhamma, and the Dhamma, the stream of Dhamma will bring you upwards to a good rebirth. Now when you consider this, if you listen to my talks, you would know that I say, a person pronounced dead by the doctor is only clinically dead. He may not be really dead. The Buddha says that when a person really dies, three things will stop. One is the life force itself. Secondly is the consciousness, the thoughts. Third is the body heat. Okay. So usually when a person is dying, after some time the doctor finds that his heart has stopped and the breathing has stopped. Then the doctor says, this person is dead. That is clinical death. Okay, clinical death. But usually that person will live on for another 1 or 2 hours. Sometimes even longer. So during this 1 or 2 hours, the mind is still running. And those are real last thoughts. And those real last thoughts are beyond anybody's control. It is by habit, what you think. In those very last moments is your habitual thoughts. That's why it's important to cultivate our mind. When we cultivate our mind by meditation and all that, we train our mind to be disciplined, to think wholesome thoughts, or if possible, not think at all. So those thoughts will determine where we are reborn. For example, one lady in Penang, she told me that the mother died of cancer. And when the mother was pronounced dead by the doctor, she died in pain. So the face was contorted in pain, you can see. But the daughter told me 1 hour later, the face changed and became so happy and cheerful and bright. So evidently she had a good heart. If you have a good heart, you're thinking of good thoughts. So because you think of good thoughts, you see good things. Your place of rebirth, you can see it's a happy destination. So you're so happy. Okay?
As my grandmother just passed away, and when she passed away, my aunt invited some Buddhist monks to chant for her. And they think that after chanting for 8 hours, then the physical impairment will be very bright and delightful. So I'm wondering if it is possible. If after my grandmother died, then we give her chanting, will this affect the destination?
If it will help, the Buddha would advise us to do all the chanting when somebody dies. I don't believe that it can help. When the person is pronounced dead, he probably won't be able to hear anything anymore. So what's the use of all the chanting?
Especially a person who is a habitual practitioner with a very strong faith in the Dhamma, the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. And say, for example, this person is ill and he is very brave and he takes it with a stride and has to go. Does that mean that these are the reasons when I say a person is not human.
Oh yes, where we go for rebirth depends on our karma. So if a person has accumulated a lot of good karma, that person would have the confidence that he's going to a good place. So when he dies also, I don't think he'll be scared. He knows that he's going to a good place. Okay, can we stop here?